Learn just 9 Korean consonants and the principles I'm about to explain, it will naturally help you recall all the other consonants as well. The basic consonants you need to memorize are just these 9 consonants. K, N, T, R, M, H, S, Ch, Now let's take a look at these 9 consonants that form the foundation of Korean consonants. These consonants were designed based on the shapes of the speech organs used when pronouncing sounds, like lips, tongue, throat, roof of the mouth. So, once you truly understand them, they become very easy to remember. First, let's look at G. These consonant has a G sound. When you make, the G sound, the back part of your tongue touches the back part of the roof of your mouth. Think of the horizontal line as your tongue and the vertical line as your soft palate. The soft palate is that soft part you can feel near the back of the roof of your mouth connected vertically toward the throat. Then you can imagine the horizontally stretched tongue touching the vertically shaped soft palate, right? If you simplify that shape, it becomes G. Now let me explain N and D together. The reason these two can be grouped together is because the tongue shape used to pronounce them is similar. And that is why they also look similar. N has an N sound. When making the N sound, the front part of your tongue touches the roof of your mouth while your tongue bends upward. If you draw that upward folding tongue shape, it becomes N. So nu represents the shape of the tongue touching the roof of the mouth. Then what about du? Du is basically a modified version of n. Du makes a D sound. What does your tongue do when making the D sound? Just like nu, the tip of your tongue touches the area behind your upper teeth. But the difference between du and nu is that with nu, the tongue generally touches behind the upper teeth roughly, while with du, the tongue hits behind the upper teeth more strongly. Also trapping energy before releasing it forcefully. Imagine the nu-shaped tongue touching the straight roof of the mouth and trapping energy there. And that creates the shape of d, which looks like n, with an added horizontal line. So, once you remember n, t, they'll naturally come to mind as well. Then what about l? When you pronounce l, your tongue moves smoothly like flowing water. Imagine a winding stream flowing gently, and that curved shape is what l looks like. So you can think of l as a consonant that visually expresses the smooth, flexible movement of the tongue. And now let me explain mu and bu together. These two have similar mouth shapes when pronounced. That's why they also look similar. However, bu has extra vertical lines compared to mu. That's simply because bu carries more air pressure and tension than mu. And now let's take a closer look at mu. This one has an M sound. When making the mu sound, your lips close completely. So mu represents the shape of a square-shaped mouth. Then what about bu? Just like when pronouncing mu, you first close your lips before making the sound, right? That's why the two shapes are similar. But bu feels stronger than mu because mu feels like simply closing and gently opening the lips, while bu sounds like the closed lips burst open explosively. So you can think of bu as a consonant that adds sharp vertical lines to both sides of mu in order to express a square-shaped mouth and explosive energy like this. So if you think of it as looking like bull horns, it becomes much easier to remember. Now let's look at the similar looking consonants t and j. These two represent the flow of air when they are pronounced. First, it has an S sound. When you pronounce s, the air feels like it flows between your upper and lower teeth, right? In a mountain-like shape. So, t visually represents that airflow. Then what about the next one? It has a J sound. When you pronounce J before the air flows like it does in S, your tongue first touches the roof of your mouth and blocks the airflow once. The feeling of the tongue sticking to the roof of the mouth and trapping the air and energy is represented by the horizontal line placed on top of the S shape. Now, this is the final consonant you need to memorize. The pronunciation of these consonant changes depending on the situation. It can be divided into cases where it is used as a final consonant and cases where it is not. When it is not used as a final consonant, it sounds like this. That's right. It has no sound at all. It sounds kind of complicated, right? But you don't have to worry about it because we're going to talk about it in detail in the next lesson while we are covering Korean vowels. And in the second case, when it is used as a final consonant, it carries the ung sound. When you pronounce and you can feel that your throat opens without much resistance, right? These consonant represents the shape of that round open throat. And the nice thing is, these basic consonants are the key to the rest of the Korean consonant system. In the next lesson, we'll see how Korean creates other sounds by adding strokes to these basic consonants or repeating them. Once you see the pattern, the whole system becomes much easier to remember.